will be a break to the upside out of resistance. Then what we can see is the market pull back to that same area and retest it, but now from the top side. And we can see that's what's going to happen is the market uses that now as support. Okay. So this is what will continue on into this fashion. If we now go back into when we just first talked about just a simple trend without consolidation, we hit resistance. Boom. Again, this is textbook. We pull back and we hit floor support. Boom. Then what we'll see is a break of that same area, that resistance that just pushed the market down. We'll see a break of that area, and then we'll see a pullback to that same area. Okay, that same area, that will be our higher low. Okay, and then we'll break that area. We'll go up, and then we'll pull back to that same area, and we'll continue in that fashion. Does that make sense? That's what we can consider an uptrend. Again, I'm teaching you textbook because it's never this perfect. What can happen is the market could go up, and then it can go like this on the way down, just during the pullback, right? And then it can go up, maybe like this on the way up, break out, maybe go down. Maybe it pulls a little lower than that low right there, boom, and then works its way up. So this is what I mean by it can get a little choppy like this, right? But at the end of the day, when we really look at it, and we take out all the choppiness, we can start to look and see these moments. We have our highs and our lows. Yeah, this is the most important thing, is starting to see your highs and lows in the market, because then even through all this choppiness, right, you're going to know which direction am I really looking to trade in. I'm looking to trade with the trend if possible, because I'm assuming the trend is going to continue until there's signs that it doesn't, which means that it's making lower lows and lower highs. Yeah, so again, it's not always going to be perfect. It's going to be something messy like this. So just understand that. That's why it's going to be so important to just see this in linear form right now and just understand this concept. So again, same thing with the floor, the support, is if we do have a reversal, okay, and the market's going like this and it's coming down again, or if it was in a downtrend, and it kind of gets into this, is we can say that if the market is going to break this floor, boom, it will come back for a retest of this area and then continue on. That retest of that area, we call the resistance, right? It just flips over. That's what we're typically wanting to see. When we want to see support turn into resistance, okay? That's just textbook. Break, we call this a break and retest. Okay. Now this retest doesn't always happen. Again, this retest, a lot of times, so breakouts, they can be pretty aggressive. And what we can see is the market may not even come back to that point. It may just continue up, right? It may continue up for a really far time. It may make a big push because, like I said, it's building up steam in these consolidation points, building up that energy. People are deciding which way they're going to push the market. Then finally, one of these people are going to win. Again, these are people. It's not computers. These are people. The buyers are finally, all the sellers are going to get out the market for whatever reason. Maybe they lost their positions, and the buyers, maybe a massive bank comes in and pushes this market up. Okay. It's going to continue up. And then what we can kind of see sometimes, it's made such a big move that it kind of consolidates more up here and continues up, right? So we may never see a break and retest of this exact area all the time. Again, this is just textbook. I'm saying perfect scenario, this is what we're looking for. This has the highest probability of winning more times than it loses. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So again, that is all of our market phases: uptrend, downtrend, consolidation. Some people call it a ranging market, range. And then we have our support down here. We have our resistance at the top. Okay, again, that is typically seen a lot in consolidation, but just like I showed you, if we're in, we've done a lot of uptrends, let's say downtrend, right? We go down, we hit the floor, we come up, we hit the ceiling, okay? At this point, we have ceiling, and then we have floor, right? Again, same thing, just even if it's not in consolidation, the same concept goes for it with a trending market. What we typically want to see is that break of that floor, boom. Then we want to see that pullback, that retest of that area, and then we want to see that continuation out. we know that once this area, sorry, I got my colors backwards. This should be green for our again, bounce up. And then we have our little ceiling, our stop sign. Again, once we see this, what we can typically see is the market use this as now resistance and then work our way down. Okay. So again, just this is still with the trend. Boom, boom, down. That's a break of support and a retest of that support, turning it into resistance. We know it becomes a resistance. That's a full break into retest once we break this low, right? Once we create a newer low, we know that we are now in a downtrend and we should be looking for sell opportunities. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Real quick now, let's just hop onto the actual charts real quick and we can kind of see how this works out. A little muddier situations, yeah. Let's see if we can find something though, like this. Okay. So again, the market's going to be going upwards, so we're looking for break and retest. As the market goes up over here, I'm going to use this. Boom. Okay, so we're using this right here. The market starts down here. Okay, the market kind of pulls up right here. We can see that. Let me change this color to make it orange. Okay, we're going to see the market comes up. Boom. Pulls back, comes up, pulls back. Where did it pull back to? Similar to that area, right? Then we have a break. We have a pullback. Where did it pull back to? Similar to that area. Pull back, down. Look at this. Where'd the market go? Sideways, right? You can see that consolidation. The market moves sideways for again, like I said, it pulled back. It didn't quite make it to that area. That's okay. We know that. Okay, it's not going to happen 100% of the time. That's just what we're looking for. We see that the market moves sideways. Okay, what we can do right now, we got our sideways movement. We'll go like this. Boom. Right? We have our little box. Yeah. You see that right there? I'm gonna zoom in. I know you're on the phone.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had to zoom
Kind
in
of
just
seeing
a
what
little.
I'm looking at though. Over here, we had this area. Again, I say it's an area, right? I'm gonna just make this a big area right now. That it pulled back to and reacted off of. Over here, we had a big area. And you can see it broke that area, pulled back into that area, reacted off of it, support and resistance, break and retest. Then what we see over here is the market moved sideways. Okay, the market moved sideways for a little bit, and then look what happened. We had a break to the upside, continuation of the trend, right? Now again, we had an area right here. I'm just use this box actually. This box now turned into this area, right? That the market eventually pulled back to, right? And then continued to the upside, right? This is exactly what I just showed you. I'm gonna do it like this so it even makes a little more sense. We had this consolidation box right here, okay? And then what we had up top was we had that ceiling, right? Boom, make that red. We had that ceiling right there. And then we broke that ceiling at this point right here. And then that, once it broke, we consider that support at that point. And we'll look what happened. It came back to that support zone and continued to the top side. Okay, continuing to map this thing out. We kind of went sideways right here. Okay, again, like I said, there's a lot of movement in between. You'll notice all this movement in between. Again, this is where we would typically want to trade HFX. We want to stay out of the market right here for Forex because there's not big movement. You'll keep seeing there's not a lot of movement right here, right? We want those big pushes to the top side. So right here, you can see there was a point in the market where to hit. One time, two times, it continued up. Up here, remember I said it's a little muddy. One time, two times, three times, and then broke through. Okay, the more it gets hit, just like if you were to take a ball and continue to throw it at the ceiling, at some point that ceiling is going to break, right? If you keep throwing it at it, may not the first time, second time makes a little dent, third time. So just like that, as you start to see the market hitting these locations more often, that's a good indication that it's going to start to break. Okay, so again, you want to, that's why it's tricky with HFX, because you want to get in around like this third push or something like that, or even the second push, right? kind of predicting that that's going to become resistance, because a lot of times, even though I just taught you uptrend, up, 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 a lot of times it's not going to happen in that fashion. A lot of times it's going to make a big push, and then it's going to move sideways. And then it's going to make a big push, then it's going to move sideways. Okay, we can see that even right here. Boom, we broke. We made a huge push, right? And then we move sideways. Yeah. Again, it's
Yeah.
used all that steam right there. That was a lot of pips right there. I think, let's see it. After this break, we made about a 40 pip move to the top side. That's not super crazy, but that's 40 pips to the top side. And then what happened? It pulled back out of that zone. And where'd it go to? Boom. Right here. Again, I just hopped on the chart, right? We just hopped on, we scrolled through. Again, I know this isn't an uptrend because I pulled it back, but I wanted to get a good situation. But besides that, I didn't map this out of showing you break and retest, right? And how the market's moving. I've just found an uptrend by zooming out, right? You can clearly see from here to here, the market moved upwards, right? If I look at this high point to the right and I look at this left, I know the market kept going up that whole time. Okay, that's that uptrend that I'm looking for. Now I'm looking within that to see the structure that created this uptrend, right? So again, what do we see? We see the market pull back down here. Boom, one touch, two touch. Pulled away, pull back, three touch. Pulled away, pull back. Again, the zone, pull back to that zone. Pulled away, yeah? Again, this market also kind of moved sideways after this big push down, yeah? And we can see around here is when we broke to the top side. Yeah, we broke right there. We pull back, baby, pull back, retest. And then we continue to the upside and we continue in that fashion all the way to the top, right? We pull up, we pull down, we pull up, we pull down. This one just moved sideways kind of, right? Then we pulled up, we pulled down, we pulled way up, boom, we moved sideways. Yeah, we didn't really go higher than this point for a while, right? We just moved sideways. And then we pulled all the way down. That was a pretty pullback. But then we continued again to the upside, sideways, pull down. Yeah. So again, continuing in this fashion all the way to the top. Yeah. Again, it's not going to be always perfect. It's going to be muddy. What we're going to want to do is we're going to want to find the best situations within this to get in. So if we see a perfect situation like this where the market really pulls back perfectly and gets into that, that's where we can potentially look for a trade. Now, me personally, how I trade and how I was taught is the more aggressive strategy of when we think this could potentially happen, because this happens a lot more when a breakout occurs. It doesn't necessarily always come back for that retest. So what can happen is I will get in right here. So again, if I saw that the market was right here at the highest point, okay, boom, I can see it's at the highest point. I would say, again, if I wanted to draw out that line, that's why we use lines at that point, just so I know where the very, very top of that box is, 89436. I'm looking on my broker. I'm waiting for it to close above that line, okay? As soon as it closes above that line, I enter in the trade right there. I put my stop loss, the candle below 4 previous, and then I take it at least to a 2-0 risk to reward. Yeah, my first, again, there's going to be different TPs. This is going to get into strategy and we'll break that down a little later. I just want to get into basics today, but I'm giving you a little foreshadow of kind of how we get into trading. Is there any questions? I feel like we went through everything. We hopped on the charts. We looked at them, not in linear form, but more in candle form.
So you're saying when it is it a certain amount of times that it has to hit for it to be considered consolidation, or just multiple times?
So I would consider it consolidation if it hits twice. Yeah, the first time, boom, it hits. The second time it hits, if it pulls down, I kind of consider that consolidation. It's moving sideways at that point for me, right? It's not making higher highs. Again, at this point, if you really see the market head up, boom, right? I'm gonna make this black again, sorry. If you see the market hit up, yeah, you can't consider it consolidation by it just hitting once, right? Because that's not moving sideways. That's just a support and a pullback, right? But once it hits twice, boom, and then I kind of see that it's not making higher highs or higher lows, then I already know at that point it's moving sideways. Yeah, because it's definitely hit twice and it's staying
So
within those zones.